Hello, this is Linda Vectris Nichols, evolutionaryhealer.com, and I have with me the most amazing person, Linn Malmberg Lindgren. Well, that's a mouthful. Welcome, Linn.
Thank you. And I know it's difficult to pronounce, but I'm Swedish, so
So we'll blame it on the Swedes.
yes,
I love it.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So tell us your interesting story of transformation. You were born actually into great wealth in Sweden, right?
Yes, I was. I was fortunate enough, and money-wise, I was born into abundance, but not love-wise, maybe. The affection wasn't there, so I early on caught on that I had to be perfect in order to fit in this money abundance life. And I was a shy girl, so I didn't really fit in. I felt awkward. I did feel out of place. And I didn't really know what to do, so I became a teacher. And then a friend of mine, she's like, well, you are all about connections, about relationships, and you're a teacher. That would be a good fit for working in the sales, pharmaceutical industry as a sales rep. I was like, okay, let's try that. Let's do something totally different. And I had no idea what to expect for the interview. So I went there and I was like, oh my God, this is so different from being a teacher. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm just going to be me. I'm just going to be me. And
Cool.
they loved it.
Yeah.
And that's what sales is
Awesome.
all about, being yourself.
Right. Yes. And building those relationships. Absolutely. I love it. Very
Yeah.
cool. So we're going to talk about understanding the sales process. And really, you just summed it up nicely. That's what it's all about. People don't want to buy your products or your services. They want you. If they understand who you are and they can find something to relate to about you, it's a perfect fit. I love it. Okay. So choosing your words and even like listening for their words too. How do you feel about that in choosing words? You hear them use a certain word. Do you use their word? How do you feel about that?
Yes. Uh, when I'm on a sales call or have a meeting with a client face to face, I always reflect back because that's my job to reflect back because then I show my clients or my potential clients or customers that I get them. So
I
it's
like it.
so important. Yeah, I mean, you had to reflect.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you get to. I love it. Okay, so what are your thoughts on creating comfort then? Is that part of it?
Oh, that is,
Reflecting their
yeah,
words?
that is vital because not vital, maybe that's the wrong word, but you have to create a sense of understanding and engagement, and you do that by using words that create comfort so you feel safe. And you
Mm-hmm.
also build up on the like and know and trust factor with being engaging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, trust is a big one for me. It's basically how I operate in the world.
Yeah.
So knowing each individual as an individual, what are their even triggers, and that can get a little tricky. How do you find people's triggers? Do you kind of pick up on triggers when you're having conversations?
Yeah, I do. And I mean, you have to find, it's so easy, they all talk about the problems, but you have to find what's the problem behind the problem. I mean, what's the
Love it.
real pain point? And that is the best. And you have to do that by digging deep, because
Hmm.
people don't just open up and tell them, this is my real pain point. So you have
Right.
to dig deep.
My friend had this problem. I love that
Exactly.
one. Just straight from the
I
movies,
love
right?
that one. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, exactly. Okay, so we're mirroring each other quite well right now
Yeah.
as we continue to build our know, like, and trust. Okay, so
Yeah.
what do you mean by be the expert, Linn?
I mean, your the potential clients have signed up for a sales call or sales conversation or face-to-face meeting because you're the expert in your field of area. You really have to show that and really let that shine through. So when you're digging deep and you hear the problems and the pain points, you can offer like two or three advices, sort of like show them that you know what you're doing,
Hmm.
because otherwise, I mean, Facebook posts in all glory, but you have to really show that you know what you're doing.
Hmm. Yeah, I do what I call reach out calls where it's just, kind of girl talk and networking and what can I do for your business, and then I'll invite them to a strategy session where I picked up on one thing I could help them with, and then we just really focus in on that. So and you find a couple of things to just sort of lightly mention, give them a few tips and tricks.
Yeah, because if we're talking about a sales call for just a 20-minute sales call, you don't have time for anything else. That is a business call, not really a chit chat call.
Hmm.
But then you can add on for the strategy session, and then you can really dig deep into the problems that they're having and the solutions that you're providing to really show them the value. Because if you can give them immense value for 1 hour, imagine then what you can give them for 8 weeks or 12 weeks or whatever your program is. So that
Hmm.
is the really good way to go, Linda.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, use your power words. What are power words? What are your power words?
My power word, since I'm a sales coach, obviously it's about sales results, focus, accountability, really show them. I mean, if you're a health coach, you're going to be talking about power words like health, lose weight, program step by step, etc. So try to find the words that really encompass your niche and use them because that will also show that you're the expert. So have a few, sort of like 4 or 5. Don't have too many that you use throughout the conversation.
Yeah, keep them focused on who you are and what you do, right?
Exactly. Because otherwise it could be, oh, is she a business coach, a health coach, or what is she? So
Right.
focus on your niche with the power words.
Very cool. All right. So we've been talking about building connection and how to build connection, and connection is definitely based on trust, and we've touched on that. Is there any more you'd like to say on building connection through trust?
Uh, because you're your biggest asset, right? I mean, there's nothing more valuable. You're selling yourself. In order
Hmm.
to do that for people to buy that, you have to build on trust, be empathetic. I don't know, how do you pronounce that? Show empathy,
Oh,
better word.
yeah.
Show compassion because that builds trust. And
Hmm.
also share experience, etc. Because when you coach, then eventually you will have shared experiences
Hmm.
together. So build trust on momentum, empathy, compassion, which is the next point. But it's really important because people won't buy until they trust you.
Hmm. Yep. And you're kind of the expert of that because there wasn't a lot of empathy in your growing up. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of a big thing for you that you make sure is shown to others. Is that right?
Yeah. Because when I grew up, I never heard my parents say that they loved me. Never.
Wow.
If I got a B plus, it's like, oh, you didn't get an A plus. So it's like never good enough. So I always bring empathy. Now, my children, they know that they're loved. I mean, abundance and love is the best way, and really empathy. And I think that shines through in who you are and who I am, for example, as a sales coach, as for example. And I mean, look at you, Linda. I mean, you're like the most loving, compassionate woman ever.
Oh, thank you. We
You're
never know
welcome.
how we're affecting others, so it's always nice to
Yeah,
get the feedback. I appreciate that, Lynn.
you're welcome.
Somebody did say though, it's like if I drew a picture of you, Linda, it would be one great big giant heart. Like, okay.
Yep,
It's like,
that is
I
true.
didn't
I would
know
do the
that,
same.
right? Aw,
I
that's
would do
nice.
the same. I would do the
Cool.
same.
I get
That's
it.
who you are for me.
Cool beans. I love it. Okay,
Yeah.
so and it's not about sales. Oh, I love that one. I teach relationship marketing, and you do relationship marketing, and I do too.
Yeah.
But yes, you're very much doing that as well and teaching that too to your clients. So
Yeah.
it's so true. It's not about sales. It's you know what is it about? For me, it's how can I help you, but without that word help, because nobody wants to be helped, right? So it's like, what is
It's
that
about
one thing?
connection.
Yeah,
It's
how can
about
I connect with you?
connections. Yeah, exactly. So if we move to the next slide,
Sure.
uh, because for me, sales is about relationships. I mean, we can talk about numbers. Of course, we have to make money from what we're doing. Otherwise, we'll have to go back to our 9 to 5 jobs, which we may or may not love. But for me, you won't get the sale if you don't build a relationship with that potential client, your potential or ideal client. And so that is crucial. I mean, the numbers will grow uh, in the same like linear as the relationships grow. I mean, if you grow your relationships, you'll have the sale, and then the numbers will grow as well.
Mhm.
And for me, that is sales, connecting and helping your ideal client with what she needs, actually.
Cool. I love it. And be honest. I know
Yeah,
one of the comments that people will make is, well, to be really honest, it's like, really? So like sometimes you're not honest. Now you're going to be honest. So just watching our words again is key. And so if honesty is a big thing for you, then maybe, well, to be truthful or to be really honest isn't the thing to use. Does that make sense?
yeah, it does. I mean, we all have seen coaches who aren't honest, who aren't what they don't live up to a reputation. So if you want the sales, you have to be honest because I'm not a graphic designer, so I'm not going to have that in my package. But if you do know that, please include it. But otherwise, refer them to someone else because in the long run, she will remember your honesty.
Hmm.
And when she needs you, she'll come back to you instead.
Hmm. Yep, absolutely. Okay, and be yourself. We've been talking about that quite a bit. Um,
Hmm.
do you have any special thing that you sort of show up with or as in order to be yourself? Or, I mean, sometimes we don't know what be ourself really is. In human design, I don't know who I am. My husband doesn't know who he is. Together, we know who we are. And that's
Yeah.
just our human design. That's just the vehicle we rode into this world on. So, um, I was always taking, classes and the Myers-Briggs and, all that kind of stuff to get to know who I am, core passion assessment, you name it. Um, so what do you do? Do you have any special practices in knowing who you are and how to be yourself?
This is so much mindset because, and I, I've been doing all the mindset work myself. I have a mindset coach as it is, but I do know how to coach as well. But we always have to evolve also, or at
Hmm.
least I feel that way. I have a sort of a test, and then that would do sort of like what kind of person are you, personality, and then we work towards that. But mindset practices, and they get to read books, and they also like what do you do? Meditation in the morning, manifestations, sort of like just like listening to yourself and pause because when I began working as an entrepreneur, I mean, I was constantly like on Facebook. Like, that's not going to teach me anything. You have to be quiet. You have to be draw back in order to be successful. And then you will listen more, get in tune with yourself, and then you'll find yourself. That's my take on it. So mindset and building confidence, because when I coach women, I see that so many of them are lacking the confidence. I mean, they're awesome at what they're doing, but they don't step up to the plate really
Yeah, I
because they're.
love Sorry. Yeah, I love what you're saying about the drawback. That's so true. When you draw back, you do become quieter on your calls so that you're a better listener. And
Mhm.
I remember when my husband and I were at a big event and we were breakout speakers and they asked us to make like a professional commercial and
Yeah.
other people did it too, other breakout speakers, and the the feedback from the audience later to us was that everybody else had pushed their energy out at the audience, and
Yeah.
we had pulled back. Not because we were shy, but it
Yeah.
was more confidence of the material that we were presenting. And I mean, we didn't like write out a script or anything. We just got in front of a camera and spoke from our hearts. But it wasn't about pushing our stuff out at people. It was actually saying just enough to raise curiosity and keeping it like, how do I say it? They couldn't completely tell what we'd be talking about, but they were very intrigued to come and find out, which is interesting because in Sally Hogshead's work, she wrote the book Fascinate. My marketing is power and mystique. So we would just leave enough mystique. Yeah, and our breakout was Friday morning, 8 a.m.
Yeah.
At a 4-day event. It's like everybody's gonna be pooped. Who's gonna show
Yeah.
up? And the room was packed at capacity of 60 people at 10 too, and they closed the doors early, and a lot of people didn't get in. It was like, wow. And the feedback was because we had, like you said, pulled back instead of just
Yeah.
pushing all this energy out at people, almost like we're desperate, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because when you push, oh, sorry about the hands. You sort of like, no, but people won't come to you when you push out because receive the energy from the client instead. That will
Ooh,
guide you in the call. So sort of like receive the energy from the client that you're on the phone with instead.
that's brilliant. I like that. There you go. That is your unique selling point
Yeah.
for sure. Why somebody would work with you, because you get this on such a deep level. I love it. Okay, and then let's go into be an active listener.
hmm that is a major struggle for so many of us. When I entered being a sales rep, I mean, I had to learn how to talk a lot because that's what the trade was in the beginning of my journey. I've been working in sales for 16 years.
Wow.
And so that's for me quite a long time. But I was talking too much. I was talking too much. And then eventually I learned that the more I listened, the better sales results I got.
Nice. Very
I
nice.
mean,
I was going
yeah,
to ask you
continue.
how many years would you say it took you before you really tapped in and became that really good listener and just zoomed your sales?
In the beginning, it was so different because we were just like knocking on the doctor's doors. Hey, I'm here now. Let's talk. And then you had like a couple of minutes to talk, so you had to talk super fast. And so a couple of years actually, because at first I was uncomfortable to really
Yeah.
stepping up to the plate. And because when you do sales training, you stand in front of the mirror or you're on video, and that was tough. But after a couple of years, I mean, it was so natural to just step back, listen to what the client had to say. And maybe my offer wasn't for them. And I was supposed to be realistic about that, which I was.
Right.
And but my sales numbers went up the more I listened, the more I became to realize that sales is
Mhm.
about relationships, connecting.
Yeah. Yeah. And you didn't have a coach, right?
No, I
No, you
didn't.
figured it out. So that's what I love about coaches is they shorten the timeline, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Like
Because
a
it took
lot.
a couple of years, a lot. Because I mean, it took a couple of years without a coach. I mean, now we can sort of like fast forward and skip a couple of years and be successful straight away. Not straight away. I mean, it takes time.
Mhm.
But with a coach, you shorten that time period for
Oh
sure.
yeah. Well, my husband and I went to really high-end coaches, and they were like, "Okay, here's a name. Here's what you're doing. Here's this. Here's that." They didn't do it inauthentically. They
Yeah.
tapped into who we really were, and even as we experiment with it, we keep going back to it. So yeah. And talk about shortening the timeline. It was like, you're going to sell a 3-month $5,000 package, and I'm thinking, so then I stayed really relaxed because like, my husband will do that, right? So I can go into freak out mode. And like 2 weeks after we get back from this VIP day, I'm the one that sells that package, and then 2 weeks later I'm the one that did it again. And it's like, well, how did that work? So talk about shortening the timeline with, really high-end coaches. And they were like, well, it's because you were selling to people that you had already established the know, like, and trust. So the know, like, and
Exactly.
trust takes time. So, sell to your inner circle, that's for sure. One of them, I had already worked with her, helping her daughter when I had my whole child institute. So very interesting how that all works, right?
Yeah, that is super
That
cool, actually.
was fun. All right. So in summary, choose your words, build connection, and sales is about relationships. So I'm gonna have you summarize that up for us.
Yeah, and the last one is the most important one for me, actually, because that is what sales is all about. And we see all these women posting as, oh, I feel icky, pushy, but
Hmm.
connect. Choose your word, build a connection, and then you'll have the sale because that's what
Hmm.
it's all about. Relationships.
Right. Yes. And so it's not all about the sale. Yeah.
Yeah,
And really getting out of bed going, okay, who can I help today?
yeah.
Right? And just finding people to have conversations with. You never
Yeah.
know. Like when I was doing my retail calls, I mean, I can do a cold call. I don't have a problem with it. And so I got somebody's card, and she was a massage therapist, called her up, and just did that connecting conversation. Found out that she was a new mom of preemie twin
Mm.
boys, 3 weeks old, still in the hospital. And when I asked her about her business, she wasn't sure what she was going to be doing with her business. And so I immediately, when I found out about the babies, I immediately switched my hat to more mommy grandma hat, and I said, "Wow, my operations manager um, just had a baby. I'd love to hook you up with her because I know she knows other moms." And she's like, "Oh, that would be great." Well, when I called my operations manager, she said, I think that's my friend's friend, and we've already set up a food train for her. And it's like, do you think that woman is ever going to forget me? Because, like, it wasn't about sales, right? So even
Exactly.
if I never do business with her, if my name ever came up in the conversation and someone was wondering if they should be doing business with me, she'd be like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
there
fun.
you have it. Yeah, so
I
there you
know.
have it. I mean, you're building connections. I mean, and that's the way you sell it, really.
Yeah, and the people you network with, you tend not to even do business with them. But when I do those reach out calls, it's like I don't know how they're going to come out. Am I going to be the savior to somebody? Am I going to have a new best friend? I mean, my
Yeah,
Facebook friends have literally shown up at my door and stayed here, in Asheville, North Carolina, from Germany. Three of them. Like,
that is
whoa.
that is awesome.
I know. So what's with the Germans,
Exactly.
When are you
They
coming?
must
We
be
get
the
some
same.
Swedes in here.
Yeah, exactly. We're
Yeah.
nearly related with the Swedes and the Germans.
Yeah, right. Well, I've got some
Yeah,
Swedish, a fourth Norwegian, a fourth English, and a fourth Welsh. So I got a little bit of that Scandinavian in me too.
yeah.
So
That
is
is
there any?
great. That's why we're connecting.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's a good flow to this interview. So anything else you'd like to put out there in summary?
In summary, be confident and know that you're worth it, and it takes time, but you'll get
Hmm.
there. Just
Yes.
focus on the relationships. That's the main thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know if you're going to become their client, they're going to become yours. But when you
Exactly.
know a little bit more about who you guys really are, you especially know how to make a good referral. And really, that's the basis of my reach out calls is getting to know them enough so that I can make a confident referral where I'm not wasting the time of the person I'm referring to them, and I'm not wasting their time sending them an inappropriate client that just like I can't work with this person or I don't even want to
Exactly.
work with this person. My husband and I are kind of known for, well, I don't know, but Terry and Linda might, and if they don't, they'll know who can help you. So yeah, it's just being open and honest, right? I love it. And you have an amazing gift for us, 7 elements of a successful sale. And like you wrote that, that's your baby. So
Yes,
obviously
that's my
everybody can
baby.
tell she knows her stuff. So tell us about that, 7 elements of a successful sale. How did that come into being?
It came into being because I realized people are scared of the sales process. What's happening? What do they need to know? So I created this seven as sort of like a magic number when it comes to sale or any other marketing, really. But it's true. And so in there, you'll find everything about like targeting your problems and how to address that and the solutions, and also how to target your own market. Who is it for? And also how to create your unique selling points. What's the uniqueness of you? What separates you from everybody else?
Cool.
And so it's really basic but down to earth and really good stuff.
Yay, very cool. So if you go back out to your email, that link you see here, that's back in the email below Lynn's picture and bio. Just click the link, go out, grab her gift. I love it. Thank you very much. Very generous of you to share all
Thank
your
you.
secrets with us. I love it. All right. So anything else coming up for you? One more little tidbit you wanted to share with everybody?
Just do the work. Just reach
Mm,
out. If you need help, reach out. I mean, it doesn't have to be to hire a coach. It could be just like an accountability partner, someone who you can talk to, your business
mm.
best friend.
Very cool.
Just
Yeah.
there. And I
Yeah.
love doing this, Linda. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for coming on. This has been a pleasure. I love this. And the relationship marketing that my husband and I learned, it's just really not out there because our coaches melded into another coach's business. So it's kind of like we're carrying the torch. So it's just a delight for me to find someone who gets it. I just love it when some of these interviews are turning into more, relationship. I don't even choose people who don't get it with relationship marketing, but when we can really talk about it and all the
Yeah,
little steps to it, I love that. So thank you, Lynn. I
I love
appreciate
it
you
too.
very much. All right. You
Thank
take
you very
care.
much for having me. You take
You're
care. Talk to you
welcome.
soon.
Okay. Bye
Bye.
bye.